Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Sophie and I'm a traditional artist living in the southwest of England, and I run my small business Sophie in Somerset. It's a small Etsy business where I turn my art into stationery products such as prints, bookmarks and stickers. Now this is a bit of a different video because you'll be following me on a summer art school that I took part in this year. It started way back in April. I'm now filming this right at the end of October. So I finished the course, and as part of the course, at the end, we got to take part in our own art exhibition. And it's my very first art exhibition, so I had to produce a final piece. So in the end, I ended up exhibiting 3 pieces for the art exhibition, along with my sketchbook, which I kept throughout the whole journey. And I'm going to be sharing with you from start to finish the whole process today. So buckle up, make a cup of tea, have a few stacks going, and join me on this amazing journey. So the art school that I took part in was part of this book, Imaging the Story. If you haven't heard it, it's a book by Karen and Jill. I am friends with Jill Sakakini, the co-author of this book, and it is a faith-based course. So Karen is a poet, a creative writer, and Jill Sakakini produces, well, she's an artist, mixes textiles and paint, and she is an art pioneer priest here in my local town and village. So I know her quite well, and she run this course which is based on this book, and it's exploring faith through art, so through the written word and art in the form of, well, it can be paint or any other medium, and other courses, Jill has said that people express it through dance as well. So any of the arts, you can take part in this course. So if you want to find out about this course and how you can run it, or ask for it to be run in your area, I'm going to link it down below. But I'm going to chat more about it at the end. I don't want to this intro to be too long, but I just wanted to give you a bit of context. And I want to take part in this course to explore more of my faith through my art. I wanted my faith to come through more in my art. I wanted to reconnect with God a little bit. I think since becoming a mum to a 2-year-old adopted little boy, you just have less time. And my quiet time is not quiet anymore, sometimes non-existent. And I really wanted to reconnect with God as well, through the gifts that He has given me, which is creativity. But also to explore my art style as well, because this course pushes you out of your comfort zone. It encourages you to try different mediums. So I want to explore my art style as well. So even if you aren't a Christian, please still stick with this video, because I think it's really interesting how throughout the process my art style developed, and my thoughts towards my art developed as well, which I'm going to share a little bit with you at the end. So you're going to see the whole course right straight through. There's not going to be any talking in it, just going to be gentle music, so you can sit back and relax. And then right at the end, there's also going to be a flip through of my sketchbook to show you the pieces that I produced through the course. And then I will join you again at the end of the video, where we can chat through the final pieces that I produced and my thoughts on the course. So this runs, we started in April, and like I said, we're at the end of October now. So it was a long old journey, but I hope you enjoy, and I will see you on the flip side. So there we have it, guys. My whole journey, which has pretty much been this entire year. It started in April, and now here we are, end of October. Um, and it's been what a ride. And I didn't quite finish my sketchbook. I still had some pages at the end, but I did do this body of work here. And you would have seen, obviously, the first parts were during the course, and then you would have seen me starting to experiment with what I wanted to do for my final piece. Towards the end, I also included this art exhibition that I went and visited. If you wanted to see that art exhibition, it's actually in my Cornwall vlog on this channel. It was an amazing artist. He mixes paint and textile. Really, really cool, which is kind of what I did in the end. So it was really lovely being able to record my whole journey in video form, but also in my sketchbook. So in the end, I ended up exhibiting my canvas, which you would have seen, and my mosaic cross, which I don't think I ended up filming in the end. I think I started to film the process of it, and I just got caught up in it. Guys, mosaics are not for me. I do not have the patience. I mean, you can do it more intricately. What we did is we smashed up those ceramic tiles that we had painted, which was really hard to smash up other people's tiles. It felt so alien, but obviously it was a representation of how, this broken world that we live in, God can make beautiful and use those broken pieces, and how from in the Bible, the fall in Genesis and that great sin that is now entered our world will still be made beautiful in the end when we get to Revelation and Jesus comes back. So that was the representation of that. But yeah, making the mosaic with these broken tiles that were all really odd shapes, really hard to put together on this big plank of wood. And then the grout, I don't have the patience to painstakingly wipe all that grout off. I don't have patience. I don't have patience. Hands up, that is one of my faults. So although I'm pretty proud of the cross that I produced, mosaic is not my forte, but it was great to try a different medium, and this was what the whole point of this course was, trying different mediums. But I really loved my set of 2 ceramic tiles with the cherry blossom going through. You would have seen my initial sketch in my sketchbook of that cherry blossom, which I'm really not very happy with the initial sketch, but obviously this is where it started, and I knew I wanted both tiles to be part of one whole piece. And then afterwards I brought them home and I worked into it by writing those quotes on there, just what I felt that God was saying to me. I had some worship music playing, and it was lovely doing that. And again, I added my signature gold because I love a bit of sparkle. And I'm laughing because me and my husband have this saying. Well, I have a saying and my husband hates it, but I say God is in the glitter, and my husband hates glitter and he hates mess. But what I mean by that is, I'm quite a sparkly person anyway. I love glitter, but God is in the messiness of life, but he can turn that mess into something beautiful that can shine. And I just think that's my own little inside joke with God. I always say God is in the glitter. It may make a mess, but you just see it sparkle. Even when you think you've cleared it all up, there's just little hints of it. But it just shines and it's pretty. And there's a message in there somewhere. There's probably a sermon in there somewhere as well. I should give my husband an idea for that, for a sermon. But anyway, I've gone off on a tangent, as I always do. So I love those tiles that were put together, and my husband made a lovely little frame to go around it, which we painted gold. So I was really happy that I could exhibit that one. And then, of course, I had to do my big piece. Now, this went on a bit of a journey. As you probably would have seen in the footage, I did cut out some footage, but we started off. So I got a set of 3 canvases from my local art store, and I've used all 3. So we started off with the first one where I photocopied my sketchbook throughout the course. and I pasted it on here and I collaged it and I went over it with a wash, and I put some of the quotes that I felt like God has been saying to me or from the book, and I pasted it on, and then I did the dandelion over the top because I knew from the third session, I think it is, calling, that is what I based my final piece on. So we had to base our final piece on one of the chapters of the book that we felt spoke to us. And it was the third chapter, which is calling. And you would have seen during that session in the window of the art gallery where we had been doing our course, there was this sculpture of a dandelion. And it really spoke to me. And that was at a time of great change for me. I had just come to the end of my adoption leave from having my little boy. And I was going to have to go back to work. Initially, I'd hoped that I'd be able to stay at home with him, but financially, we just couldn't make it work. And the role that I was in before, which was a treatment coordinator in a dental practice, something that I've known since I left school. I trained to be a dental nurse, and I've nursed, and I've worked my way up to treatment coordinator. That's all I've ever done. But the hours just didn't work with a little boy. So I had to make the decision to leave there, and I found a position in a special needs school, which is an amazing job. It's term time only. I'm currently filming this in half term. I'm at home. I get to spend more time with my little boy. And long term, that'll be amazing to have a term time only job. And it's in a special needs school, and my little boy has additional needs. So it's very close to my heart. And anyway, but it was a massive change for me. And that session came right at the start of me starting that new job. So calling was something that was really on my mind, because my dream would be to make this art and this channel and my small business, for that to be my full-time job, to enable me to stay at home with my little boy full-time. That's the dream. So I was kind of, in this turmoil with knowing that I had to return to work because that's what was best for my family, but not what I wanted to do. And I was wrestling with God over this, and also just saying to God, like, I really want my art to be my main income, and I want to do it for you. I want to bring glory to you through my art. And I really feel like creativity is my calling. So why aren't you using me right now? And this was the kind of conversations I was having with God. So I knew that was going to be the basis of my big piece. And I knew I wanted the dandelion to feature in it, because for me now, when I look at a dandelion, it takes me back to that moment. And I hadn't really unpacked what that represented. I would later on, which I will share with you, but I knew I just wanted this dandelion. So that's where this piece came from. So this was my initial thoughts, and just kind of collating all the pieces that I'd done in my sketchbook, and experimenting with stamps and the gold paint. Again, I knew I wanted the gold in it, like, again, that representation of God making something beautiful. Throughout the course, we chatted about, I can't pronounce it, but that Japanese art where broken pottery is glued back together with glue that has gold in it. So you don't try and hide those cracks. You're not painting over it, but you're celebrating that brokenness and how that brokenness has now been made whole and been made beautiful. Again, going back to that glitter. So I really wanted the gold to feature in my piece as well. And it is a bit of my signature style, I'm finding, because I do love glitter and gold and that little bit of sparkle. So yeah, I think that's the other thing, because obviously I wanted to experiment with my art style and kind of develop it further. And I think I really had to lean in to what I naturally wanted to do. I think it's really hard when you're being part of an art course not to compare yourself to other artists. And there was such a wide variety of people on this course. I think there was about maybe 15, 20 of us in total. All very, very different, some more leaning towards creative writing, because of course the course reflects both of those. And in the final exhibition, you would have seen some people exhibited poems and pieces of creative writing, and other people did actual art styles. We didn't have any other mediums like dance, but there was a few sculptures there, but mainly it was either like a canvas piece or a poem. But yeah, so this was my initial thoughts, and then I had to move on to thinking about what the actual final piece would be, and this I really struggled. And to be honest with you, I had these two canvases on the go at the same time for quite a while, so let's have a look at those now. So this is the first piece that I started and in the end rejected, but I still want to do something with it. I want to get your thoughts on this. So this is a piece, though, I used the water bath in the garden with kind of marbling inks to get an effect on both canvases. And it did look lovely on this canvas, but it was very pale. So in the end, I did go over it with some other acrylic paint. And then I painted on these dandelions, which I'm really happy with how they turned out. So I painted them on with gold ink. And then I did some quotes, again, which I had come to me over the course, which made a kind of poem. And then over the top, I put this thread fabric. I think you can see it there. I've got a roll of it here. I don't know what you would call it. Somebody in the comments might be able to tell me. I found it from the scrap store. But it's got all of these little threads. And it basically looks like you've gone over it with like a sewing machine with all these different individual threads. And as soon as I saw this, I knew I wanted it to go over my piece, because I just felt like, I think in life, things don't always make sense. But what God is doing is nothing that happens to us is by accident. God is weaving all these individual threads together, and we can't always see the tapestry that He is creating. It's sometimes not until we've gone through a really trialing period and we look back, do we see the tapestry and how all those individual threads, where it felt like something was going wrong, actually He was just taking us in a slightly different direction and weaving together this beautiful tapestry for His plan and His glory. And I thought this would really represent that quite well. So I knew I wanted to use that. So I overlaid it over the top. But for me, although I think it is beautiful, it didn't have the impact that I wanted. I would have liked to have done a bigger canvas, but I am quite limited with the space in this box room that is my studio. And it's a shame that by the time I came to do my final piece, we were in the autumn months, because the weather wasn't that great. Because if it had been better weather, if it had been in the summer that I was doing the big piece, I could have maybe done it outside and got a bigger canvas. So I had to work with the space I had, and this was the biggest really thing I could cope with in this studio. And I just didn't, knowing that it was going to be on the wall in the art gallery, I just didn't think this would have enough of impact. I didn't think it would pop enough, but I do still think it's beautiful. So the words that's on here, it says, "Seeds of promise, take flight. We walk daily through a broken world. What the world views as weeds still bring beauty and was made by God with purpose. Outsider, forgotten, unloved. Christ God. The place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need." So that was me, again, reflecting on the change in my circumstance, also bringing in my experience through adopting our little boy, dealing with the grief of infertility, of us not being able to have our own biological child, and now taking on the grief and trauma of my little boy's own little story that we're going to have to communicate with him one day, and what it means to be adopted, because we're all adopted by God, and also now being part of that community, and knowing other families who have fostered and adopted, and the cycles of behaviour you often see, and people who have been failed by the system, by the government, through lack of funding, support. The list goes on. I think once you enter into that world and you see the need and the poverty that is in the world, you can't help but be touched by it and want to make a difference in some way. And through this course, I have started contemplating whether or not in my future, not right now because my little boy's so little, but it's something I'm praying about and exploring further in the future, to use my art in art therapy, predominantly for children and young people who are in the care system, who are looked after children. I've seen with other children that I know who have been fostered and adopted, art is a great way to express those emotions that they can't find words for, or through the experiences that they've had through the trauma and through their own grief. And it's something I really want to look into and lean into in the future. So that's something that's a big thing that's come out of this course, about how I can bring glory to that through that, and use this as my calling long term for God. But that's not right now, and God's made that quite clear, and I totally understand that. I think my place is at home with our little boy right now. But in the future, that's something I'd really like to look into. So that was me expressing that in this piece. And I was thinking, perhaps, what do you think about this being maybe a print or a greetings card, for I know, to express like sympathy, or that somebody's thinking of you, or to have in your house as a quote. What do you think? I want to hear your thoughts. Would you like to see this as a print or as a card or something else? We can maybe just use the image without the words, but I think the words add something different to it. Maybe we could tweak it slightly. Let me know. So this was set aside. I'm not going to say discarded, because we are going to make use of it. And then we went on to my final piece. And this is it. This went on a journey. I started it. I hated it. I didn't know what to do with it. I put it to one side. I came back to it. So we started off by collaging. I didn't film it because I didn't think I was going to use it, but I ended up by collaging bits of newspaper, bits of tissue, just to get some texture on the board. The newspaper ended up being significant in my final thoughts on the piece, but initially I did it to create texture. I then used that ink water bath to create some extra texture and some colour. But I needed to go something bolder. So I broke out my acrylic paint. I drew on the dandelions first, didn't I? Or did I? I can't even remember my process. I don't think I filmed it. No, I drew on the dandelions with acrylic marker first. I really wanted this piece to be really loose. I knew that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be loose, because this piece, although it's beautiful, felt quite tight. And I really just wanted to sit down and be like, okay, God, I want the Holy Spirit to take my hand, to take this paintbrush and create what you want to create. I didn't want to overthink it. I really wanted to be in collaboration with the Spirit with this piece. So we drew those dandelions, and I realised that I needed to have two heads, like I did in this piece, but I needed one head to be the beautiful bright yellow flower that we see, but also the other head to be the seed head. Because I think that's a great thing with dandelions. It's such a transformation that we don't always dwell on. This flower that we call a weed, that is often unwanted, but actually brings bright colour. And then when it turns into a seed head, so many of us use it to make wishes, or to tell the time. Did you do that as a kid? You held the dandelion seed head, and you'd blow, and you go 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Is that just me? I'm sure that's a thing. I'm sure other people did that. Anyway, so I drew those on, then I got my acrylic paint out and I did these splashes. I had drips going down, and I loved the freeness of it. So I did some pink, some turquoise, again, some gold in there, some cream. And then we went over the dandelion itself. Again, the leaves are gold. And I was really in two minds. Well, for a while, I wasn't going to colour the dandelion at all. I didn't know what to do. I asked my husband for his opinion, and he actually told me not to colour it. Don't tell him this, but I'm glad I didn't listen. No, it's so hard because you don't. I was really pleased with how it was looking at this point, and I thought I don't want to ruin it now. And I didn't have any other canvases. This was it. So I could have gone out and bought another one, but I didn't want to. And I was a bit pushed for time as well because it was getting close to the date of the exhibition, and I still hadn't thought about what I was doing. But I'm glad I went ahead and coloured it. And then again, I put this mesh over the top, and in the end, it looked amazing because I really wanted to ground the piece, which is why I did this black dirt earth at the end. But these ended up looking like roots, which was a happy accident. And then at the end, I was really stumped as I wanted to demonstrate the seeds of the dandelion spreading, because when I think of calling, we are called by Jesus to make disciples. We are called to follow God, and that means going out into the world, being in the world but not of the world. So I knew that the seeds in this piece needed to be spreading. It needed to be going out because we're meant to use our gifts and our calling to benefit others, to bring glory to God. And I didn't know how to represent it. And I think if I had had more time, I would have embroidered it. I thought about embroidering the canvas, so actually threading in individual seeds. But I didn't have the time. And also, again, if it went wrong, I didn't have a backup canvas. So I chickened out. And I ended up using glitter. And I am glad I did, because I think it added extra sparkle. And again, when it was up on the wall of the exhibition, I think it really grabbed your attention. But yeah, it's something I think I've said it on the channel before, I want to experiment with mixing more textiles into my art and stitching into canvases and painting on embroidery hoops. I haven't quite got there, but next year I'm hoping I will get there, because this has lit a bit of a fire in me. It has got me out of a bit of a art block rut. I think the biggest thing that I've found since running my small business is that you can get caught up with creating products for product launches, for creating products which you think will sell. And I love being in my sketchbook, but I've become quite tight in that sketchbook. I've been doing small illustrations to then turn into bookmarks and stickers, rather than getting messy and doing canvases, and getting back to the heart of what traditional art is. And so I want to do more of this, and I want to turn more of this into stickers and bookmarks rather than the small cutesy illustrations so much. I think that's the direction my business may be going in. It's made me wonder, and I think I just want to now, once I've got the Christmas range out the way, which is pretty much already done, I want to give myself some room at the end, towards the end of this year and the beginning of next year, because I'm not planning on doing another product launch until spring. I want to give myself this winter time, these winter months, room to play, to get out canvases, to get out embroidery, to get out different mediums, and find out what I feel that God is saying to me through the art, what He wants my art to look like, how I can continue to glorify Him through my art, what I enjoy making, what makes my heart sing, and just really worship Him through the art. Put some worship music on, not film everything I'm doing for YouTube or for Reels, and just to get lost in Him. Because, friends, we serve a creator God, and He made us in His image. Therefore, whether you think you're creative or not, you are. you just have to find that thing. And since becoming a mum, especially of a mum of a little boy who has additional needs, who may or may not be academic, he could prove us all absolutely wrong, and I hope he does. But I'm even more passionate about giving him every single opportunity to find the thing that makes his heart sing, to find that thing that sets him on fire, that gets him excited, that enables him to express his emotions, his feelings, and whether that be art or music or sport, or drama or maths, science. I don't want there to be any limitations. I think that's the biggest thing when you're a parent of a child with additional needs. There are all these limitations and labels put on them about what people think they may or may not achieve. And there is no limit. And we want him to reach his potential, whatever that looks like. And we'll be proud of him, whatever that looks like. And that's exactly how God feels about us. It gets me emotional just thinking about it, because how much I love my son, God loves us immeasurably more. Like, how is that even possible? And God is proud of whatever we make or create, especially when we're doing it for him. He is a proud daddy that loves it when we come to him with our little drawings or anything we've made, or if we've baked a cake or whatever. He is like, that's amazing. And I'm going to put that up on the fridge. I'm going to put that picture up on the fridge so everyone can see. And he's there going to his angels, look what Sophie made. Look what my daughter made. And that's how he is with us, friends. And I think that's the biggest thing that I have come to realize through in this course, that I can bring glory to him through whatever I make. There hasn't got to be this thing that I'm trying to grasp that he wants me to do. He just wants me to be authentically me. When I did this piece, I was a bit self-conscious because, yes, it's a bit garish. I said I wanted it to pop, but it really does pop. And it's got pinks and it's got glitter. And is it really something that would be at home in an art exhibition? Is it fine art enough for an art exhibition? And I didn't know what anyone else was creating. We had a group chat. A few of us shared what we were working on, but many didn't. So until I brought that piece to that art exhibition, I didn't know what anyone else was creating. I was like, is it going to stick out like a sore thumb? And I got to the point where I was like, I don't care, because I think when I look at this, I see me, I see pink, I see glitter, I see mess. I did what I felt, I kept loose, and I'm actually really pleased with this piece. When I look at it, I can tell that I made it. I can tell that I wasn't trying to be anyone else, that I wasn't trying to replicate another piece of art. It is just authentically me. And that's what God wants. He just wants us to be us. And I think when you connect with God, when you are so in love with him and in tune with him and following him for the sheer joy of following him, you can't help but let that shine out of you, and people will want what you have. They'll be like, what has she got that I don't have? And I want that. And that is Jesus. And I'm not ashamed of that, and I want to shout it from the rooftops. And all of my art doesn't need to be explicitly Christian. It doesn't have to have Bible verses written on it. It doesn't have to have a cross on it. I hope, and my prayer is, that people will get joy from it and be like, this is something different, and I want to know what that different thing is. And that different thing is that it was created in combination, in communion with the Holy Spirit, and it is created for God's glory. And I am a child of God, and he made me to be creative because he made me in his image. So that's my final piece. That was the journey, friends. It was a journey. And I started off wanting to experiment different art styles. I wanted to push myself creatively. I wanted to try out different mediums. I wanted to have some guidance that comes with being part of an art course. I wanted to create in communion with other people, and I did all those things. And I am so happy that I took part. So if you have the opportunity to take part in this book, in this course, you can buy this book on Amazon. You can do it yourself at home, but I do think it is beneficial to do it with other people. But you can do it at home. It has all of the resources and all of the instructions in the book. But it really has changed me. I think I'm not over egging it by saying that I am a different artist because of the course. I think only now, in reflection, the art exhibition was last week. I've collected all my work now. It's over. It's only now in reflection that I'm discovering how much I have changed as an artist through that course. And the reasons why I create what I create has changed. So thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And if you're not a Christian, thank you for sticking to the end. And especially with this last portion, letting me, give my little sermon. Thank you for being open-minded. I'm never going to shove Jesus down anyone else's throats, because I don't think that's how you win people for Christ. And that's not what Jesus did when he was here. But I am not ashamed to be a Christian, and I'm never going to hide my faith or what I believe on this channel, or anywhere else in life. So thank you for respecting that. And if you are a fellow Christian artist, I'd love to get your thoughts on the course. If you've took part in it before, or if you're thinking of taking part in it, if you click on this video because you've heard of the course and you want to find out a bit more, I'd love to hear your thoughts too. But thank you so much for joining me on this slightly different video. This month on the channel are going to be 3 videos. Normally I only do 2, but there are going to be 3, because this is a bit of a bonus one, because I've been filming it for so many months. Thank you for joining me. Stay tuned for the next one. Please hit the the notification bell. Leave me a comment. I'd love to get your feedback. Have a lovely, lovely day, whatever you're doing. God bless. Love you. Bye.